The wall was patched by morning the way it always was. The songs already named the wrong man, but down in the mud below it, one Viscount had started keeping a different kind of promise.
Again, you killed a harrow on luck and nerve. Luck runs out. Nerve I can work with, again.
That's the 6th time this morning.
It'll be the 600th by winter. Up.
The wall was patched by morning, and the songs named the wrong man, but a different promise had started keeping itself in the mud below.
You could just tell me what I'm doing wrong.
You fight like a noble for honor, for the look of it. A wall knight fights to still be standing when the thing stops moving. Lower your guard. Live longer.
She taught him nothing that would look good in a song. Every lesson was about the small distance between alive and not, and how to steal it.
She's going to break every bone you own, Aldric.
Only the ones I'm not using. Is that breakfast? Please tell me that's breakfast.
The blade had caught a steel blue light the day he saved the wall. Since then, nothing. Dull gray. Mira said it was waiting. Aldric was starting to think it had simply changed its mind.
It's not broken. A blade like that keeps its shine for oaths kept at a cost. You've kept none since. Give it a reason, it'll remember.
An oath at a cost? What did the first one cost me?
You went back down into a breach 100 knights ran from, for men whose names you didn't know. That's what it cost. That's what it always costs. Everything you were allowed to keep for yourself.
He had a chipped blade, a borrowed teacher, an empty keep, and a debt to a handful of survivors he could not stop thinking about. He was beginning to understand, exactly enough to start with.
Then I need more than a teacher. I need the men I pulled out of that breach. If I'm going to be a knight, I'm not going to be one alone.
Now you're thinking like something worse than a noble. Go find your gutter blood. See if they're stupid enough to follow you twice.
The lower city lived in the wall's shadow, close enough to touch the stone that both protected them and would, one day, fall on them. It was the last place a noble ever went on purpose.
The mad Viscount. I wondered if you died of embarrassment after the Count stole your harrow. Guess not. I'm building something. Men who fight on foot, who go toward the breach, not away. The wall needs them. I need a scout who's insane enough to bait a giant. Interested. You had me at bait a giant. I've been bored since we killed the last one.
The men Aldric had saved were here, the ones who had stood behind him in the ash and not walked away. Getting them to do it twice, sober, would be the harder trick.
You're the one from the breach, the little lord who came back down. Half these men are alive because of it, so say your piece and say it honest. Honest, the highborn will let this wall fall before they let a lowborn hold it. I mean to hold it anyway with whoever's brave enough. No horses, no glory, just the breach and each other. That's the whole offer.
It was the worst recruiting speech in the history of Old Mirian. No pay, no rank, no safety, just the truth and a wall that needed holding.
Halden Roke, I break things and I don't run. My mother's on the other side of that wall's shadow. I'll hold it, for her and for the fool who came back for us. I'm no fighter, my lord, but I watched the harrow fall. I drew it. The ember, the weak point, the angles. If you're going to do this again, you'll want someone who's already done the sums. You worked out the geometry of killing a god with a pencil. Pell, is it? You're not a footman, you're my map.
One by one they stood, a scout, a strongman, a scholar, and a dozen frightened, stubborn men. Not an army, not even close, but the first thing that had ever looked like one to any of them.
All right, God's help you, you said yes. We start at dawn. Mira's going to hate all of you. She's going to hate US. Wonderful, I do my best work hated.
He walked home with a squad instead of a name, and for the first time the wall's shadow did not feel like a lid. It felt like a roof, a thing you stand under, together, while it holds.
A Viscount drilling gutter blood into a private company, under my wall. That is not devotion, that is the first inch of a rebellion. Watch him.
You are slower than the wall you're protecting, and twice as thick. Move like the thing behind you wants to eat your family, because it does.
The strongman was a gift. What he lacked in speed, he made up for in being a wall that could hug you.
This the heavy one, feels like a twig. The harness gets you up the harrow, the sword ends it. Miss the timing and you're a stain, simple. Nape of the neck, always. Everything else is a wall. You get one clean strike before it swats you, so you make the one strike count.
He drilled the one motion, up the harness, over the shoulder, blade to the nape, until it lived in his hands and not his head. In a real fight, there would be no time to think, only to have already known.
Enough hitting. Now the part the highborn forgot. Every one of you swears the oath of the blade tonight, or you go home.
Oath to what? We've got no king who'd have us, no order that'd take us.
Not to a king, to each other and to the wall. A wall knight's blade only keeps its light through promises kept when keeping them costs you everything. Swear it true, and the steel remembers. Swear it false, and it goes gray, and so do you. Aldric Corvith. Do you swear to go toward the breach when others run, to hold the wall for the ones behind it, and to never once leave your own in the ash?
I swear it, on the chipped sword of a name nobody remembers. I swear it.
The dull grey edge caught, for just a moment, a whisper of blue, the sword remembering the shape of a kept word. Then it faded, waiting. An oath sworn is only a promise. The steel wanted it paid. A scout, a strongman, a scholar, and a dozen frightened men swore an oath no herald would ever record, to a wall that could not thank them, for people who would never know their names. It was the truest thing any of them had ever done. They had a name now, though none of them had said it aloud yet. The ashen vow sworn in the wall's shadow, in the falling grey, by the ones the songs left out.
You've got people now. That's good. It also means you've got more ways to lose.
I know, but I'd rather lose everything with them than keep it alone. That's the whole thing Mira's been trying to beat into me. I finally heard it.
The wall gave the same warning it always gave, the one every soul learned before they could walk. The far fires going out. Something had come to test the stone again, and it had not waited long.
That's the horn already. We're not ready, we've had a week.
The Harrow don't check your training schedule. On your feet. This is the lesson.
This one was leaner, quicker, hungrier. It had not come for the wall. It had come for the soft, undefended places in its shadow, the villages the highborn never counted worth the wall at all.
The cavalry won't come, it's just villagers, they won't spend horses on villagers. So it's us, on foot, like we trained. Ashen Vow moved.
They ran toward a monster the kingdom had decided wasn't worth saving anyone from. That was the whole point of them. They were the ones who came for what the highborn wrote off. She taught him nothing that would look good in a song, only the small distance between alive and not, and how to steal it.
Go behind me, get behind me.
A blade like that keeps its shine for oaths kept at a cost. Dull grey means you have owed the steel a debt too long.
Over here, you fast, ugly bastard. Chase something that shoots back. It's faster than the last one. It won't hold still for the harness. You'll get half the time. Then I'll make the half count. Ren, the wall, drive it toward the broken wall.
It was not a battle. It was a plan, executed by frightened people who trusted each other more than they feared the giant, which was, it turned out, the only weapon that had ever worked. It always costs the same thing, everything you were allowed to keep for yourself.
Half the time, fine, watch this.
It was faster than the last one. It twisted as he fell toward the nape, and for a heartbeat, his one clean strike became no strike at all. The giant swatted him from the sky like the small thing he was, and the plan, and the week of drills, and the oath, all hit the stone with him.
Ag.
He had missed, and a missed strike against a harrow does not mean try again. It means the giant is now between you and everyone you swore to protect.
Then it goes through me first. Aldric, get up. I can't hold a giant. I can only slow it.
The lower city lived in the wall's shadow, close enough to touch the stone that protected them and would one day fall on them.
Halden, no, don't you dare. That's not the plan.
The strongman met a guard's fist with a farmer's shield and his own 2 feet. The shield lost. He did not fall. That was the entire difference between a footman and a knight, and no one had ever told him.
An oath kept at a cost. Never leave your own in the ash. All right, all right.
The men who had stood behind him in the ash and not walked away, getting them to do it twice, sober, was the harder trick.
Halden, down.
He did not save himself. He spent his one good moment, his one clean chance, hauling a friend out of the path of a god's hand. It was the worst tactical decision of the fight. It was the oath, paid in full.
You came back for me. You're bleeding out and you came back. Never leave our own in the ash. Now get up, we're not done.
And the sword remembered. The oath was not sworn now, it was paid, in blood and a wasted chance, and a friend pulled out of death. The dull grey edge caught fire with cold blue light, brighter than it had ever burned. The steel had its reason.
His sword, Mira, his sword.
That's a paid oath, boy. That's what a real knight looks like. Now finish it.
Ashen Vow. One more time, drive IT to the wall.
They moved as one thing now, welded by the sight of their lord bleeding and refusing to fall. Fear had become something else. it had become each other. It was the worst recruiting speech in the history of Old Mirian. No pay, no rank, no safety, just a wall that needed holding.
You should have stayed on the other side of the wall.
The paid-for blade found the nape. Blue light met red, and the faster Harrow learned, far too late, that the slowest thing on the field, a promise kept, was the one that finally caught it. It came down into the mud of a village the kingdom hadn't bothered to defend, felled by the men the kingdom hadn't bothered to count. There is a kind of justice that only ever happens where no one important is watching. The villagers came out of their cellars to find a dead guard in the square and a dozen filthy, bleeding strangers holding each other up. No banners, no highborn, just the ones who came when nobody else would.
You spent your kills saving me. That was mad. That was the maddest thing I ever saw. That was the oath, Halden. It's only worth something when it costs you the thing you wanted most. Today it cost me a clean win. Cheap, honestly.
A scout, a strongman, a scholar, and a dozen stubborn men. Not an army, the first thing that ever looked like one to any of them.
It's holding the light now. Mira, it's actually holding it.
Because you finally paid for it. That light doesn't come from killing Harrow. Any butcher can kill. It comes from what you're willing to lose for the people behind you. You've got it now. Don't ever sell it back.
So we have a name yet, because the mad Viscount and his idiots is getting long. The Ashen Vow, sworn in the shadow in the gray by the ones they left out. If they won't put us in the songs, we'll put ourselves in the wall.
The Ashen Vow. It would not appear in a single chronicle of Old Mirian for a very long time. But every soul that squad ever pulled out of the ash would carry it, quietly, for the rest of their lives.
A Viscount and his rabble are killing Harrow the garrison won't touch, and the small folk are starting to say his name like a prayer. This is no longer irritating, this is dangerous. If I cannot stop the lowborn loving him, I will make the crown fear him. A private army under a discredited noble. The king does so hate the word army. Bring me the chancellor.
While the wall was held by the forgotten, the court did what courts do best. It found the man who was saving them and began, very carefully, to sharpen a knife for his back.
You've bled for your first paid oath. Good. You'll need the blade lit for what's coming. That village killer, a stray, a puppy.
The wall's shadow stopped feeling like a lid and started feeling like a roof. A thing you stand under, together, while it holds.
A puppy and the dog.
The dog is waking. The old maps have a name for what sleeps out there in the deep blight. The first, the Ashen Crown. When it comes, it won't come for a village. It'll come for the whole wall, and every song-singing highborn will be on a horse pointed south.
Far out in the ashdark, something the size of the wall itself turned over in its long sleep, and a red light the size of a city pulsed once, slow, like a heart deciding it was time to beat again. Steel blue in his hand, crimson on the horizon, a kept oath against a waking god. It was, when you drew it plainly, not remotely a fair fight. It never had been.
Then we've got until it wakes to make a dozen footmen into something that can meet it. Can we?
No, absolutely not. We'll try anyway. That's the job.
The overlooked Viscount had a squad, a paid oath, and a blade that finally burned. Out in the dark, the thing that would test all three had just, for the first time in an age, opened one enormous eye. Ironveil, Episode 2, The First Oath. The wall holds, for now.